So I'd like to thank everybody for joining the Overcoming Not Provided webinar with SEMRush. My name is David Black. My face is down there in the corner, and I'm the Director of Customer Success here in our North American office, and we're located just on the East Coast, just outside of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Um, my duties here are to make sure that users understand every facet of SEMRush, even down to the smallest minute details, because of course, the more you know about the data, the more you know about the software, the better that you can interpret the data and the better that you can leverage it. So it's my personal goal to ensure your success as a user and show you how SEMrush can be a great solution to the issues that search marketers face, specifically what we're talking about today, and that's not provided. So SEMrush, we're not provided. It doesn't, everybody knows what not provided is. It's a topic that's being talked about on a global scale. The search marketing world has been buzzing about not provided for a while. But for those who may not know, keyword not provided and keyword unavailable are terms that have plagued us since the latter half of 2011, specifically in October. So with the introduction of secure search, Google's no longer providing organic keyword referral data in its analytics platform. And unfortunately, the trend is even showing itself across other platforms as well, with some browser softwares adapting secure search. Now, we've known about this for a while. We've seen it growing and increasing throughout the years. But so unfortunately, it's not something that should have necessarily come as a shock. But of course, the impact is still unavoidable. So how are we using this organic referral data? It's been crucial to search marketers because basically it's like a measure of our organic marketing or SEO, search engine optimization efforts. It kind of let us know if we were on the right track, and sometimes it even plotted a course for the future. Now, there may be a ton of reasons how you are using some of this data, but I'm just going to go into a few of them. So we're doing it to fine tune our on-site SEO optimization, like our titles, meta tags, and URLs. It actually influenced our keyword research process as a means of finding related keywords and topics and themes to pursue with our content. We may have even used it to improve areas of our paid campaigns like keyword targeting, ads copy, and of course our landing pages, since they told us exactly how visitors were reaching our website. And one of the big things, of course, is that keywords were used to influence our content development strategy. So just like keyword research, we either created more content based on a specific keyword, topic, or theme that we were already ranking for, or we created content for keywords related to the ones that we were already ranking for, hoping that it would be easier to kind of break into the search engine results pages for other related keywords. Now, this is where SEMrush kind of comes in to save the day. So nice little cool little graphic there. Now I'm sure most of you are familiar in some capacity with SEMrush, or else you probably wouldn't have been here. So you've probably played with it before, or have heard of it somewhere. So before I go into the actual demos, I'd like to tell you a little bit about our collection methods, just a little deeper to help you get a better idea of where the data is coming from. Again, that's going to help you better interpret it and leverage it. So we start with a database of the top 95 million keywords worldwide. And on a regular basis, sometimes as often as every day, we're actually automatically querying each keyword in our database and recording the first 2 pages of search engine results that we see for each keyword. So, that's one of the ways through cross-referencing and reverse engineering almost. That's how we're able to determine who ranks for these keywords and where they rank for them, among tons of other data that's actually available on SEMrush as well. So because we have what I believe to be the largest data sample of this kind, and we collect it and update it on such a consistent basis, you know that you're getting data that's as accurate as technically possible. And that's exactly what makes SEMrush such a great solution to keyword not provided. We've been featured in multiple articles, and even SEO Maz's whiteboard series. When the news broke, they did a special Whiteboard Tuesday, and they mentioned us. So, if someone from SEO Maz is listening, thank you very much for that. And the reason that it works, I think, is that instead of tapping into a domain's internal analytics, we do this from the outside looking in. We reflect what Google is showing us, and the beauty is that we're reflecting those Google results for millions and millions of keywords. So it's entirely possible that when researching your own domain or researching your competitor's domain, specifically your own domain, of course, because that's why we're here today, that you may find keywords that you're ranking for and never even knew it. So that's the beauty of that. And now what I'm going to do is actually switch over to a live demo. And what I'm doing right now is I'm using the Guru level account, uh, the Guru level SEMrush account that's available. And I'm going to pretty much stick to everything that's contained in the organic research section of this navigation menu here. And I'm actually going to start, I'm just going to jump right into it. And I'm going to use an example. And the reason I'm choosing this example is because I was reading an article from copyblogger.com. And basically, the whole idea was to not worry too much about not provided and give you another way of looking at things. So I want to actually use that because they had mentioned in the article that they lost a substantial amount, if not all, keywords that were going back to their or in their analytics platform. Sorry. Okay, so after completing a query, as you can see just up here in the top, I typed in copyblogger.com, and I'm going to go through this and just explain what I'm doing. So here we are in the domain overview report, and this is essentially just a portal to other larger reports. It contains a lot of data, but right now it's specifically what it is. It's a portal to other large reports. Okay, so just underneath these nice pie charts we have here, we have two modules, one for organic keywords and one for ads keywords. Now I'm going to try to not go very fast so that everyone can catch everything that they're seeing here. So, and as you can see, this is just a small snapshot, but currently copyblogger.com, as of right now, because you can see right here, this is a live update mode. I'm seeing 8,560 keywords that are associated with copyblogger.com. That means that there's 8,560 keywords that are triggering organic results from our database. These are the keywords that are triggering organic results within the first 2 pages of search for copyblogger.com. And I'm going to click on that to see their full report. I'm just going to go from the top down and explain what you're seeing here. Okay, so currently what we're looking at, as you can see, is Google US. All right, so these two buttons are depressed. But also, we're also carrying data for copyblogger.com in other databases. We carry 10 regions of Google along with Bing US. So you can see here, every single database that we have in here is containing some sort of keyword, organic keyword information for copyblogger.com. So there it is. You already have it broken down by country that we service. And then we're also going to be adding a lot of databases later too, a little bit later this month. Not this month, I'm sorry, later this year, we're going to be planning to release a lot of other databases. So you'll have access to a lot more geographical information too. Something that's really important is this overview block right here. This is going to give you a general overview analytics for this domain. The SEMrush rank, everyone wants to know what that is. That's kind of like our own internal ranking system, similar to something like Alexa. And we actually base that ranking. Of course, the closer it is to 1, the better. The first place usually goes to the big guys like Wikipedia and stuff too. But the closer it is to 1, the better. And it's based off of this metric right here, which is the SE traffic, also known as organic traffic. And what that is that's an estimation based off of these keywords of how much traffic these keywords are responsible for driving to the domain. And that's important to remember. I want to make sure that everybody understands that because of these 8,558 keywords, we're estimating by virtue of the search volumes for these keywords, where the domain ranks on the SERP page for them, we're able to determine not only how much traffic is coming from a single keyword, but also in total. And that total is what you're looking at right there, roughly 61,000 visits coming from those 8,500 keywords. And just underneath that, we're looking at SE traffic price, which is the value of that organic traffic. Sometimes even people use SEMrush to evaluate a domain, and that's kind of based off of the organic traffic and the value of that organic traffic. So it's worth roughly that much. If you were going to, and how we calculate that is basically once we look at the traffic, we can factor in the average cost per click for these keywords in order to determine their monetary value. So if you were trying to replicate Copyblogger's organic traffic for these 8,500 keywords, you'd be spending roughly $375,000. Okay. And just underneath that, of course, we're dealing with organic stuff today, but we do have metrics, separate metrics for ads traffic and ads traffic price. So if they were running any ads, it looks like Copyblogger, we're not finding a lot of ads or keywords that are triggering their ads. So unfortunately, we can't identify any keywords for them and therefore can't identify a budget. But if we were looking at a different competitor or a different website, maybe we'll pull up some of that ads traffic. Okay, so moving over to the right, we have a pie chart that depicts, I guess, essentially the distribution of keywords amongst all of these regional databases. We can set this to anything, but it's on organic keywords by default. And you can manipulate these charts and do what you like with them. Okay, just a handy little tool, visual representation. Okay, and then moving over, another visual representation of the organic keywords, the amount of organic keywords for the last 12 months. And that's depicted by this line right here. Okay, so as you can see, it looks like Copyblogger, starting back November of last year, they've gained a lot of organic traffic. I'm sorry, organic keywords since that time, and these bars here are depicting the distribution of those keywords. So currently, right now, there are 2,100 keywords in positions 1 through 5, and we go down, you can see positions 6 through 10, second half of the first page, roughly 2,100 keywords, and then about 4,300 keywords on the second page, positions 11 through 20. All right, so that about covers that. And just under here, this is the real heart of the data. This is like what we're looking for basically. So Copyblogger is going on and saying you need to think about keyword not provided a little bit differently. But lo and behold, here's SEMrush, and we have 8,500 keywords that are triggering their organic results. Okay, and you can see all of these keywords here. So when we query these keywords, this is a live update. So some of these keywords were updated, probably even hours ago. There's a possibility that you could come back to a report and have it look a little bit different depending on whether you're ranking for that keyword or whether you're not ranking for that keyword since the last time that we updated. So as of right now, these are the keywords that are associated with Copyblogger's organic results. And we're just going to go across the table so that I can explain what you're looking at here. And we're looking at the position. That's where they ranked for this particular keyword currently. So this one in blue is where they currently ranked the last time we saw them. And this is the position in parentheses the last time we saw them. I'm going to skip these two for right now. I'll come back to those in a second. But besides, along with the keyword and the position itself, you also have the URL, the visible URL that's actually associated with that particular organic result. And it's extremely valuable to have. Okay, so using this, we can actually, if I click on this little icon here, I always like to point this out because you can actually go right to the page itself if you wanted to check it out. So everything is kind of self-contained in SEMrush again. And there you go. That's the organic URL associated with that. Now we also have traffic percentage. This is important because, as you can see, it's important because the table is sorted that way. The darker gray indicates that the table is sorted that way. And what we're doing is we're looking at the traffic coming from one keyword in relation to all the traffic that these 8,500 keywords are producing for copyblogger.com. And as we can see that this keyword, we would consider this to be their top keyword in terms of traffic that it's driving because it's responsible for generating about 11.3% of that SE traffic number of 61,000. Okay, and that, that's how we are able to determine the most popular landing pages and the most popular keywords. But you can sort this table by anything that you'd like. All right. So I'm going to skip this cost percentage. The cost percentage metric actually has a lot to do with the AdWords budgets of these domains. So it's kind of like traffic percentage, but it applies to that ads traffic price. And unfortunately, like I said, we're not discovering anything for Copyblogger right now. So just going to skip over that for now. But this is also competition level for this particular keyword. On top of the competition level, we're also showing other keyword data such as the search volume. So this is the search volume, exact monthly search volume for this particular keyword and for all the rest of the keywords. You also have the approximate cost per click for those keywords. So if you're doing this to help influence it. If this information is going to help influence your AdWords campaigns or anything like that, you're doing it to fine tune your AdWords campaigns. You have the data available right there. Um, and again, the competition level is a measure of the amount of competition in terms of advertisers. Yes, these are organic keywords, but we're looking at this in terms of the competition level. Looks at it in terms of advertisers, and that's in indices. So the higher the number is to 1.0, that is the 1.0 being the highest level of competition. Okay. Then just moving on, we have the results. This is the total number of results that we saw for that particular keyword on the date that we queried it. So for internet marketing dash advertisement, whatever it was, we saw 538 million unique results in Google. Trends graph, that's pretty self-explanatory. So for this particular keyword, it's just a small graphic that depicts the search volume fluctuations over the last 12 months. And something like this down here, SEO copywriting. You can see it had a huge spike in 1 month. Maybe there's something seasonal about that. Who knows? But it's probably something more for like a retail space. But anyway, it's available. It's there, and we can see the SERP source that was taken, the actual snapshot for this particular keyword on the date that we queried it. And as you can see right there, copyblogger.com, they appear right there. It's going to highlight it for you very conveniently. And, you can look up the SERP source to see what they're using for their titles, what appears in their snippets, anything like that. And to even verify SEMrush data, you can look at it for that too. And the last update column, just to close out the columns, is going to tell you when the data for that particular keyword was updated. So something like internet marketing or grammatical errors, we queried that keyword just 2 days ago. That's important because our update schedule used to be on a monthly basis, and sometimes people didn't feel that was enough. But now we've gone completely to live update, and the more popular the keyword is, the quicker it's going to be updated. But I can tell you that I do a lot of keyword research inside SEMrush, and I've really never seen anything not updated any longer than maybe a day or two, which is astonishing to me. Even working here, I get to. I'm still surprised by how quick we update some of this information. Some of the other things I want to point out before we close out this particular report is the ability to check out daily statistics. So this currently is a monthly figure, but right now if we can actually switch over and do monthly statistics. So what I can do is I can click on any of these dates on that line and actually see how the report appeared for any time in the last 30 days. And that's something that you have available to you at our pro level. But if you decided to go up to Guru, you would have access to historical data. And the reason that that's important, and I like to point that out, is because I know that Webmaster Tools has been cited, of course, as an alternative to this Google Not Provided thing. And Google, currently Webmaster Tools is my understanding, and from what I've seen, that they're only giving you the last 30 days of data. But with the actual Guru account, we can go back. As you can see right here, we're highlighted for live data. But we can go all the way back to January 2012 when we started actually caching all this data on our side and recording all of it. And we've made these historical data points available. And what they are is they're basically aggregate reports of all the keywords that the domain was ranking for at that given period of time. And I think that's extremely crucial. So if Copyblogger or any website has lost a significant amount of keywords in some time, you notice, what you can do is actually go back using historical data and figure out what those keywords were. You also have the ability to do a lot of reporting inside of SEMrush, what I think is great too. So if I wanted to, I could do a simple search for something like internet marketing. And it's going to throw a quick filter on this report to include all the keywords containing internet marketing. And I can actually stack more on top of each other. So if I wanted to include include keywords that are in positions, say 1 through 3, I could easily do that just by applying a simple filter. And if you wanted to, you could sort this by search volume and sort it by CPC, all before exporting to either Excel, CSV, or CSV semicolon delimited. And we also have available, we have the option to do custom reporting. So if that's something you're interested, feel free to reach out to us. Okay, and of course we can do PDF reporting too, which is great. Um, at the pro level, you're kind of locked into using the SEMrush logo, which is nothing wrong with that. But if you're doing any kind of reporting, you may want to choose a custom logo to include in your reports. You can do your own report title, your own domain, your address, um, and then actually send that to yourself through PDF. So I think that's another great option to do because a lot of people do that kind of stuff in SEMrush. They use it for a lot of reporting functions. Okay, so that about wraps up the position changes. I'm sorry, positions report, the organic keywords report. Um, also, if we want to take a quick look, I believe somebody out there suggested that I can just use their domain as an example. Let's just take a look at it real quick. Let's see. The SEMrush database contains roughly 48 million keywords right now, and this is just a random example that I'm pulling up. And here we are in Grammarly.com's organic keywords report, and he's allowing me to use this as his example, which I think is great. Thank you very much for that. And here we are. There's 113 keywords associated with this domain, organic keywords. You can sort this by position, do everything basically that I just showed you. Um, to find all of those most popular and most important landing pages, URLs, and keywords for your website. Okay, so let's actually. I'm going to jump back and see if there's any questions that I can answer for you guys just right now. Let me just go through and see what we got. Where does SEMrush search from? Well, you know what? It's actually, we have a very proprietary way of bypassing any kind of location-based influence in search results. So what you're looking at is everything on a national level. But you do have the ability with a software that I'm going to show you later that you can actually drill down on a specific, very specific location. Okay. What data is available through the SEMrush API? Basically everything, pretty much everything. We have a very strong, reliable API that you can access. What period of time were we looking at there in those reports? Well, technically, could it be considered the last 30 days? Yes, but I think it's better to look at this in terms of how it looks right now. So let's say we look at Copyblogger and they're getting, we're estimating 35,000 visits from the keywords that we see. Can it change an hour later if you come back and they rank for more keywords that we found? Yes. So it's better to think about it in terms of how it looks right now. If things were to continue to be the same way right now as it is when we're completely looking at this report, Copyblogger would have gotten that much organic traffic. But technically, yes, it could be considered over a 30-day period too, because we use signals like search volumes in order to determine traffic statistics. For Copyblogger, the organic keyword section is telling us that 8,558 are ranking in the top 20 results. Correct. Yes, that is the way to do it. We also have a report that's going to show you keywords outside of the top 20 as well, and I'll get into that a little bit later. So for now, thank you for those questions. I'm going to go back to the demo section. And what I can do if we're looking at Copyblogger, I'm not gonna touch on this too much because it's not the real reason why we're here. But I just want to point out that you can do this for your own website, and that's why it's a good replacement for not provided. But the real heart and soul of SEMrush has always kind of been centered around competitor analysis. So I just don't want you to forget about that. And what I've done over here on the left-hand side is clicked on the competitors report. And this is competitors in organic search. We also have a competitors in ads too. But competitors in organic search is going to basically aggregate all of those domains in our database, or at least in the Google US database. There's roughly about 11 million of them altogether. But it's going to take all those domains that rank for the same keywords organically as copyblogger.com and aggregate that and pull that into a report that you're looking at now. And this is it's going to all be sorted by competition level, which is an internal algorithm, a proprietary internal algorithm that's looking through all these keywords and sorting them out in order to determine who is your highest competition. All right. And as you can see, ProBlogger, HubSpot, Unbounce, these are guys who are all competing with us. So if we wanted to figure out who we should research or even use their data to our advantage, whether it be to help us fine tune our SEO campaigns, content development, or our ads campaigns even, you can research your competitors too, and we can see all those common keywords just very easily just by clicking on this little link here. We'd be able to actually see those common keywords that we have with Copyblogger ourselves. Hypothetically, this is us. So we could see all the common keywords between ProBlogger and Copyblogger.com, as well as some additional traffic and estimations for value estimations for ProBlogger.com. Makes it very easy. So let's go on to the positions top 200 report, also located just under the competitors report. And I like this report. Currently right now it's only available for the Google US database, but the title might be a little misleading. It's not the top 200 keywords that you have. It's actually keywords that you rank for well beyond the first 2 pages of search. So what we do is we take a database of the top 1 million keywords worldwide, and we run them every month in order to determine keywords that you rank for outside of the first 2 pages, all the way as far back as the 20th page or the roughly 200th position. So this is where you may find some low-hanging fruit, whether you're looking at your own website or your competitor's website, in order to find keywords, something like Facebook timeline or whatever the keyword is. It doesn't matter what the keyword is. It's going to show you that you're ranking, roughly a 17th page, first position, something like that, in order to, help you improve those websites or improve those landing pages. Sorry. And help raise your rankings for them. Okay, and the unique thing about this particular report is that we also include the URL, but it also has this potential column here, and this is great because it's showing you what kind of potential traffic you can expect to get from a first place organic ranking for this keyword. So if you were to just rank first place for something like SOPA, you're looking at 211,500 click-throughs on estimation. So then again, you can take this report, you can export it to CSV, Excel, and do whatever you wish with it. And I think that this is a great report to utilize. So before moving on, I'd like to just take a couple more questions really quick. Okay, so can you explain the click-through rate? Yes, we get this question often. The click-through rate, the cut and dry of it is that our click-through rates are actually built into our algorithm. So like I said, we use things, different signals like search volumes and positions in order to determine how much traffic is coming from a single keyword. And what we're doing is we kind of assign a predetermined click-through rate to each position on the SERP in order to determine how much traffic is coming from a single keyword. So that's how we do it. Unfortunately, not unfortunately, but the algorithm is proprietary. It's kind of that secret sauce that makes SEMrush so sought after and trustworthy. And that's what we do for our click-through rates to determine traffic. So thank you for that question. All right, so now I'm going to go on, if you don't mind, and I'm going to jump to this URL report. And why I feel like this is really handy is because we can actually isolate keywords going back to a single URL. And an easy way to illustrate this is by going back to that positions report we were looking at earlier and utilizing this URL column. So, if you wanted to run some kind of filter where you wanted to single out these, you could do that. Also you can include URL containing a certain string, or what we could do is just take something like this internet marketing keyword here and click on that, and that's going to automatically populate a keyword query. So you can make 3 types of queries into the SEMrush database. You can look for domains like we did, just like copyblogger.com. You can look for keywords. You can type in internet marketing and get a slew of information about that particular keyword. Or you can simply click on a URL or enter a URL if you know the landing page that you're trying to analyze, and pull together a quick list of all the keywords that are going directly back to that landing page, that are producing results that are targeted back to that landing page. And not only can you see that, but in these snapshots, you can also see, again, the total amount of traffic being produced by these 187 keywords. So as you can see, these 187 keywords are roughly producing around 10,000 visits for Copyblogger to this particular landing page, and the value of that organic traffic. Nothing found on the ads front, unfortunately, but we can access that full report of organic keywords for this URL by clicking on the little link there and seeing all those keywords. So, some of them may not even contain the string internet marketing. So that's a really good way to figure out what kind of traffic and how people are actually finding those landing pages. You also have the position, um, just like the other report that we were looking at, the positions report. You have the position, search volume. That's how this particular report is sorted by the monthly search volume for these particular keywords and CPC competition level, all that good stuff, when it was last updated. And of course, the export and historical data functions. Okay. There's a tool that's located inside of the organic research um, menu, and that's called position changes. So I want to point this out, really quick. It's you can watch a video tutorial on this later. In fact, we have a lot of these little buttons that are available all over the website in order to watch a video tutorial about that particular report. But just to explain what you're looking at here, it's this report, for a long time, what people wanted was they wanted to be able to scrub one keyword report to another in order to see things like new keywords, lost keywords, improved and declined. It's taking out a lot of that manual work involved in doing that, and it's doing it right here on SEMrush and making it really easy, putting it right at your fingertips. So what we're looking at right now is we're looking at new keywords that copyblogger.com is ranking for as opposed to the previous day. So in relation to November 11th, now we're able to see, or there will be, of course, I think this may be one day behind. So we're looking at keywords now. It's going to take that day to populate, but we're looking at keywords now for November 12th in comparison to November 11th. And these are all the keywords that you are now ranking for that you weren't on November 11th, okay, or the day before. And that's great. So instead of going back and looking at or having to look at that organic keyword report, figure out, what are the new keywords that I have, what are the lost keywords, we actually have that all contained in one report. Clicking on anything up in this graph here will actually take you to that particular report. It's going to show you the URL associated with that. That's important too, because sometimes even if your URL changes, it may consider to be maybe a lost keyword or a new keyword too. So if your URL is changed, you may see a new keyword appear. All right. You can also look at lost keywords, which is the same thing. So if a keyword is now outside of the top 2 pages, it's now considered lost. We're unable to identify Copyblogger with a specific keyword, so therefore it is lost. Improved and declined, same thing. If your keywords are still within those first 2 pages, but they're just shifting in position, you can look at that as well. So the improved and declined reports actually contain this really handy column here, position difference. So what I can do is I can sort this by position difference. And if I did this right the first time, which I usually don't, oh, I did. Okay, great. So now I can see what keywords have moved up the most in position without actually having to build some sort of campaign to track these keywords all the time. But I can see here that online marketing business, it did appear in position 20, roughly is ready to fall out of those first 2 key pages, but now it's done something to jump up into position 9. And I think that's great, especially when looking at your competition. Maybe they're doing something. You notice a lot of their keywords for a specific topic or theme or some sort of relation with those keywords have boosted in rankings. Maybe something is going on internally with your competitor's website that's going to tip you off as to what they're doing, what their strategy is. So I find this report almost invaluable, just like the rest of them. I know I keep saying that, but it's true. It's everything on here is completely invaluable. So position difference again. Now I can see what keywords have dropped the most. This may alert me to rethink my strategy or rethink this landing page and try to make it a little bit more successful for a specific keyword. Again, you have that URL. Everything's exportable, so you can just take that right into a third-party program. Okay, so that about closes out the entire organic research branch of the navigation menu. So before I go on to anything else, of course, I'm just going to jump back and try to grab a couple questions. Rick asks, for potential, is that how much traffic you can expect monthly or yearly? That could be considered monthly. Again, in order to kind of determine traffic, we're looking at we're factoring in search volumes and positions. So, for a given search volume, ranking in the first position will warrant this much, by our estimations. So that's how we figure that out. Does this take into consideration branded and non-branded keywords? Not necessarily. No. Unfortunately, it's not possible to at this point to really um, discern between what is branded and what is not. We have to keep everything on a level playing field. If competitor analysis is the name of the game, we kind of have to be able to keep everybody on that level playing field, and that's why we use a kind of a blanket click-through rate for those positions on the SERPs. We can't distinguish between a branded keyword or not. But if that's something that you may know internally, so that you may know how much traffic is being delivered by a certain keyword internally, especially if it's branded. You may see branded keywords in SEMrush. That's entirely possible. If those branded keywords like eBay Motors, is a branded keyword, just for the sake of an example, that's a branded keyword, but it's got a high search volume. So it might fall into that top 95 million or that top 40 million in Google US. So yes, it's entirely possible to see branded keywords. Can you search for a single keyword? Great question. Yes, that kind of takes me into the next portion, and I appreciate that. That was a good segue. You actually do have the ability to conduct all of your keyword research inside of SEMrush. For I've it's very rare that I find a keyword that is not contained in our database, but we have an insane amount of keywords for you to choose from. So let's just look at something like marketing expert. We can either type that in to the search bar here, or we can click through from it. And I'm going to click through from it, and I'm going to show you, just to give you a quick overview, just to show you some more stuff that's contained in SEMrush that can be of value to you. We're trying to. The ultimate goal is to create this encompassing environment in order to allow you to conduct all of your work inside of SEMrush. Maybe on a daily basis. So that's what the ultimate goal is. But what we're seeing here is when we query this keyword, just like we're taken to a domain overview, we're actually taken to a keyword overview report. And basically the same thing. It's like that portal that we talked about earlier. So we have keyword data, cost per click, competition, average monthly search volume, number of results, CPC distribution amongst where this keyword is contained. This keyword also appears in the German database and Spain and a bunch of other ones, and it's telling you the CPC distribution. So, and then also a larger version of that smaller trends graph that we showed earlier, depicting the fluctuations in search volume over a 12-month period. So, beside that, you get a lot of good stuff too. It's in phrase match reports and related keyword reports. I think the beauty of our related keywords report is that we're not taking that from any kind of not third party, but we're not relying on someone else to tell us what keywords are related. We actually have our own internal algorithm that decides that based on the instances of domains either ranking organically for these keywords or purchasing or bidding on these keywords in ads. So I think it's a very tight algorithm. We have no interest in selling you keywords. So we're not doing it. It's a very unbiased way of showing you keywords that are related. I feel that's a very important thing. Then, we can see when this keyword was last updated on the 12th of November. And we're breaking down the search result, the search engine results page. We're breaking it down, making it very easy for you to see the positions, the domains that ranked in those positions organically, and the URLs associated with that. All this data is exportable as well. Okay, so the days of actually going into Google and typing, the search query and trying to capture all that data that you see on the SERP and sift your way through it are kind of over. Also, not just the organic data, but also the ads data. So we can see who's bidding on this keyword, the URL, the visible URL associated with their ad, the position, and the actual ads copy. Just little things that I know we're talking about organic, but I kind of keep going back to it. You can do a lot, so much advertising intelligence involved in or contained in SEMrush. So again, yes, that is keyword research at your disposal too, as well as all this other good stuff. Okay. Um, just that I don't want to show you, I didn't skip over anything. This is just another way to get to the phrase related. And this ads history report that you can see who's purchased a keyword um, over a period of time, what domains have purchased a keyword. Okay. Now there's some other tools that I want to show you, but first let me answer a few questions because this next section in for the tools is kind of in depth. So I want to answer some questions before moving on. Have we benchmarked SEMrush metrics against Google Analytics or others to validate the accuracy of your algorithm? Well, just a brief history. The guys who built this are, they've had a very long history with with SEO and SEM, and they're very well versed in this sort of thing. We use a lot of case studies to come up with those predetermined click-through rates and things of that nature that we factor into our algorithms. And from what I've heard, in terms of Google Analytics, there can be discrepancies in Google Analytics, of course, but that's because Google Analytics is factoring in all the traffic that you're receiving, whereas we're looking at strictly, we're breaking it down not only by location, the geographies and the search engine itself, but we're breaking it down by keyword as well. So we're not saying that, copyblogger.com only receives 35,000 visits in a month. I mean, that would actually kind of be ludicrous to assume that. But, what it's saying is that for those 8,500 keywords that they ranked for, we're estimating that much. And I can say with confidence that that number is going to be extremely close and that's the reason why our data is so sought after. So I appreciate you asking that question. Please keep that in mind. And in terms of webmaster tools, Google webmaster tools, from what I've heard, and we haven't really gone back and actually done any case studies with webmaster tools really. But from what I've heard, sometimes our traffic estimations are even closer than that of webmaster tools. So, that's just me saying that though. This is fine for massive sites like Copyblogger, but how is it useful for my client sites that are much smaller? By Jeff. Jeff, we contain 11 million 11 million domains, just only 11 million domains inside of the Google US database. So I've seen domains that rank for 8,500 keywords like Copyblogger. Yes, they're a massive site, but it illustrates an example. It illustrates a great example. But I have seen sites that rank for maybe 10 keywords, and that does come into play. But that's what the research is all about. So yes, you're looking at a domain. You may find a domain that ranks for only 10 keywords in our database, but then you kind of have to ask yourself, are the keywords that I want to rank for, or my target keywords, do they warrant my attention? Because if they're not contained in SEMrush, maybe they're not amongst those. Well, they're not. They're not amongst those 95 million most popular keywords. So using something like SEMrush, you can do your keyword research that I've been showing off in order to target those right keywords, especially when you're researching your competition to see what keywords they are targeting. So please keep that in mind as well. Get it. So Steve asks, you may have to connect the dots for us. Is the reason we need not worry about the not provided numbers in our analytics packages is because SEMrush is capturing the traffic sent to our sites by keyword, including SSL queries? Well, that doesn't really come into play. Hopefully I'm answering your question right, but none of that actually comes into play. It doesn't affect what SEMrush does because I'm not sure if you know, but we've been doing this from the outside looking in. So instead of trying to capture in somebody's internal data, we're not able to do that. We're not able to capture internal analytics data. So we're looking at everything from the outside. We're querying these keywords, we're recording the search engine results pages, we're dissecting them, we're parsing them, and we're applying our own statistical analysis to it to come up with this breadth and this depth of data that you see here. Okay, so hopefully I answered that question. If not, I apologize, Steve. So let me know. All right, so I'm going to go back and talk about the final portion that I want to talk about now, and that's the position tracking software. So we've been talking about this whole time these 95 million keywords that we capture data for on a regular basis. The position tracking tool, and that's only one half of the sorry, the window just popped up on my screen. That's only one half of the scope of the tools that SEMrush provides. So the whole web interface as a whole that we've been looking at now essentially is only one half of that. And the position tracking software actually makes up for that additional half. Okay, so the position tracking software, you guys, I'm sure have heard of this before. So you give us the domain, you give us the keywords, and we're going to track that for you on a daily basis. And I want to emphasize on a daily basis because a lot of guys, maybe not a lot, but some people offer this as a service and don't track on a daily basis quite yet. A lot of guys are still doing it weekly or every few days or something like that. But again, SEMrush is doing it on a daily basis. So depending on what account level you have, you're going to be able to have a certain amount of campaigns that you can create. This is the guru level package that I'm looking at now. This is 50 campaigns I can create, and I can disperse 1,500 keywords amongst all 50 of those campaigns. We do have the ability to add more if you were wondering. You can add more later as well. So let's just look at a quick example. There's 4 very simple steps. You can always go back and watch a video tutorial about this later, but there's 4 simple steps for creating a campaign. So just in keeping with the example that we're showing, copyblogger.com, I can choose a root domain, I can choose a subdomain of copyblogger or just the www. I can look at a specific subfolder or a specific URL, and I'm going to choose root domain. That's 90% of people are going to look at root domain anyway. I can use a custom title to differentiate this from the rest. And here is where this gets great because the position tracking software is not limited to just that national level of those 10 regional databases that we carry for Google. If you're doing a lot of local SEO or local SEM campaigns and you want to track this where you're ranking on a daily basis, you can do that. Of course, you can do it on a national level by just selecting the United States, but we can get down to the nitty gritty, small town Ohio if we wanted to, or anything like that, just by choosing a specific region and a city. All right, so that's the second step in that wizard. Okay, and the third step would be to choose competitors. So not only can you track keywords for your your main domain here, but you could also do it for your competitors as well, ProBlogger and Unbounce. We can type in our own if we wanted to here. All right, and the fourth and final step is the adding of those keywords. So you can go in, you can type them in manually, internet marketing, whatever, marketing, ads copy, anything like that, and you can also do that. A suggestion tool that SEMrush has built in, you can do that by domain and use a phrase filter, organic or Adwords, and choose how many you'd like to suggest based on the keywords that are in copyblogger.com's organic or ads report. Do it by phrase match too. So if you want to look for other keywords for internet marketing, essentially that's like combining your keyword research with the position tracking tool and making it a lot easier. So just these 3 keywords now we can commit those over to our campaign. We can choose to remove these or do anything that we want, but you'll see how many keywords are in there as opposed to how many you can keep in that campaign. And you can start tracking, and even before you do that, you can actually receive weekly updates via email. And within 20 minutes, depending on how many keywords are in that particular campaign, you're going to start to populate data. All right, and once that populates, it's probably going to take a while now, but I have some other campaigns set up already so that we can just quickly take a look at it. As you can see, this is, like I said, it's a whole software inside of SEMrush. We're able to show you there's 4 different reports as of right now, and each one of these 4 different reports can be looked at 2 different ways. So it's a total of almost 8 reports that are available to you. All right, and right now we're just looking at an overview of the rankings. And sorry, maybe this wasn't the best example because I only have like 2 keywords in this particular campaign, but you can actually see all this data. You can still see what I'm showing you here. You can commit these keywords to your campaign, track where you are on a daily basis. It's going to tell you how many you have in the top 3, how many in the first and second pages, and how your rankings have changed over since 24 hours. Okay, so let's move over to the keyword rankings tab, and we can look at all 2 of our keywords. All right, and we can see here that organically it's going to track every day. We're also going to be able to see the SERP as it appeared on that specific day if we like. Okay, and I mentioned earlier that you can filter this report as well. But I mentioned earlier that you're not limited to those 95 million keywords in our database. You can actually enter any long tail monstrosity or localized geo modifier that you like, and pull up your rankings for them. But if the keyword is not contained in SEMrush, you're not going to have keyword data such as search volume and CPC available to you. You may just see a non-applicable symbol. Okay, so I just want to point that out real quick. All right, and then we can actually do this. Our main campaign is eBay, but we can look at where Amazon is ranking for these keywords as well if we define them as a competitor. And if we think of any competitors later, we can just add them right in. And it's actually going to go retroactive. So if I were to add somebody else like buy.com to this report, I can then go back and see where buy.com was ranking on the SERP for all those for all those keywords and the SERPs that we populated before we added buy.com in there, which I think is great too. All right. So moving through this, I apologize if I'm going a little fast here, but we now can look at a domain comparison. This is a great report because you can pit as many competitors as you like against each other in order to see where you were ranking for these keywords on a specific day. Say November 11th in comparison to November 12th for eBay, for Walmart, for Amazon. And it's going to tell you the position difference. So if we had more keywords in here, then I'd be able to see the differences in position. So you can sort that right there and export that to a beautiful CSV or XLS format. All right. And you can do it in PDF too. We actually just, I'd like to point that out too, is that we actually just instituted this PDF report for position tracking, which is a huge thing that everybody was asking for. So I think that's great that we have that in there now, and that's going to send you that PDF report just like that other one via email. Competitors Discovery is a tab that we added not too long ago, and what that's going to do is it's actually pulling in all those competitors that rank for the keywords that we've added to our campaign. So this is where we go to discover more competitors, maybe to watch out for them because we can see where they're ranking for them. And that's where that retroactive data comes in, because if I were to add a JC Whitney or Auto Trader to that campaign, it would then go back and be able to actually repopulate that old data. And this is where you can go to find new competitors to analyze. One thing I like to mention, I forgot to mention it earlier, is that position tracking is also great because not only are you not limited to those 95 million keywords, you're not limited to those national level regions in Google, but you're also not limited to the first 2 pages of results. We actually go all the way back to the 100th position. So you can track where you are for these particular keywords all the way back to the 100th position. And just a little anecdote. My stepfather actually set up a website not too long ago. It's a very niche website for some game that he was playing, and with using SEMrush in conjunction with the position tracking tool, what I was able to do was I was able to uncover 382 keywords that he could possibly, by looking at his competitors and by looking at his webpage and by looking at related keywords, I've then compiled a position tracking campaign of 380 something keywords that potentially he should be ranking for. And when I pop that into the campaign itself, then I discover that he's actually ranking for some of these keywords just in a very low position that I would not have been able to see in the web interface. So just by doing a little bit of work for about an hour, not even, I was able to determine other keywords that he ranked for as well. So I think that's a very important thing to convey there. So, all right, that closes out that particular section, and I'm going to jump back to before I go back to the slides or anything like that. Pretty much almost done wrapping up this webinar. I'm just going to answer a few questions. I'm going to go down the list here. What feature best replaces Google's former or related keywords tool? Use SEMrush. That's the answer to that question. All right. Let's see. Do we have keyword tagging so we can evaluate by area of the site? No, unfortunately not. Again, just to convey what I was saying earlier is that we're doing this from the outside looking in, so we're not tapping into your website in any particular way. The only thing that we're recording is the actual landing pages and the keywords that are producing results for those landing pages. What countries' databases is SEMrush looking to add this year? A lot, actually. I've heard talks about a lot of countries in Latin America, Nordic regions. Is a big one that we've always got. Netherlands is a huge one, so I believe that we'll be adding that soon. Ryan, thank you for asking. There's a lot more available, so feel free to reach out to us, and we'll try to let you know. Of course, uh, don't take what I say as gospel. I hate to say that because it's kind of still in beta and we're getting all the kinks worked out, but we're going to be adding a lot more databases very soon. Let's see. I'm going to just jump back to my slides real quick. What are my final thoughts on this topic? So, well, whenever Google undergoes a change, whether it's big or small, inevitably there's going to be some article or some sort of publication somewhere trying to sell you on the idea that SEO and keywords are dead. It's like Old Faithful. You can pretty much set your watch to it. But in my opinion, SEO and keywords are far from dead. I don't think you should believe the hype really. In my opinion, of course, the new Hummingbird algorithm is a proof of this. Google's not trying to do away with keyword search queries. They're actually taking measures to better interpret them. So in turn, that well-crafted content, using the data that you found on SEMrush is actually only going to be delivered more easily and interpreted much more easily. So, also, I've read a lot about solutions. I've read a lot of solutions to the not provided issue. Mostly, actually, they're more like workarounds. Some of them use a simple logic. Some of them require some advanced analytics wizardry. But unless Google decides to give us back this data, you're going to have to figure out the best way to retain it or replace it. And that's why I believe SEMrush is that replacement. SEMrush is that replacement. So, am I biased? Yes, of course I'm biased. I work for the company, but I truly believe that what we have is a viable alternative here. Especially when you have access to all the other competitor analysis, the advertising intelligence, and keyword research tools that are available within this site. So SEMrush, whatever happens, SEMrush will continue to carry data for millions of the world's most popular search terms and domains. Search queries will change over time, but the data that we provide is going to remain constant, and without a doubt, it's going to remain valuable. So I want to thank everybody for joining the webinar today. And in doing so, what I'd like to do is I'd actually like to offer, what you've been seeing here. This is a promotional link. This link is, I had to use a bit.ly link. I apologize. But I'll put this in the chat as well. It's bit.ly/17, M like Mary, F like Frank, D like David, N like Nancy, N like Nancy. And what this is going to do is it's going to take you, this link is actually going to take you directly to the landing page for the Guru product. And it's going to give you the first month for only $1.99. So the Guru product that allows you to see historical data and gives you access to 5,000 search queries per day into our database, 30,000 results per report, and also gives you a much higher level of the position tracking campaigns and keywords that you can use in those campaigns. Is usually a $149.95 per month value, but this particular promotion is going to allow you to access the Guru level for only $199 for your first month. Okay, so you're going to be asked for a credit card when you log on, and I think it's pretty standard stuff. So just take notice to when you're actually going to be charged the full amount, but you're only going to see a $1.99 charge for that particular day. All right, so again, thank you guys very much. Let's see if I can address any more questions. Do you have a trial membership I can try? Yes, we have a free level account that you can try, and it's going to be, you can find that at the top right of semrush.com. It's a free register account, but it's going to be a very limited amount of data. You're going to get 10 queries into the database per day and only 10 results per report. There's nothing wrong with that, but take advantage of that promotion that I wrote down there. Okay, guys, I think that's about it. It's going to wrap up everything. Have a great night, and feel free to write to us. I love hearing from everybody. You can reach me at david.black@seoquaketeam.com or on Twitter at theguy@SEMrush. Thank you so much.